we're going to be working on Eureka, Module 5, Lesson 14. So let's go ahead and get started. So our objective today is we're going to use math drawings to represent subtraction with up to 2 decompositions, and we're going to relate those drawings to the algorithm and use addition to explain why the subtraction method works. So what that means is we're going to be subtracting, and we might have to unbundle 1 or 2 times. We're going to be using place value chips, and we are also going to be checking our answers with addition, kind of like what we did for our last lesson. So let's go ahead and get started. Things to remember: our difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. 1 10 is equal to 10 ones, 10 tens is equal to 100, and to get started, we do need some materials. If you have a place value mat and those place value chips, pull those out because those will help you a lot. And if you have a whiteboard and a marker, you can also use that. But remember, if you don't have those things, you can also use a paper and a pencil. Okay, so let's go. We're going to start with our application problem. Remember, for our application problem, you just kind of listen to me, and it's to get our brains warmed up so we can start getting ready to do our math. Brianne has 23 fewer pennies than Alonso. Alonso has 45 pennies. Okay, so part A says, how many pennies does Brianne have? Well, let's talk about what we know. We know that Alonso has 45 pennies. We don't know how many pennies Brianne has, but one thing we do know, we know the difference. We know that she has 23 fewer than Alonso. So that is the difference, because when we're comparing those, we don't know how many Brianne has. She has 23 less. So I can go ahead and figure this out by doing this. 45 take away 23 is equal to, I don't know yet. So I can line those up and subtract those. That would be kind of easy to do. Or I can also try to find the missing add-in. Remember, I could say 23 plus, and then the box is what Brianne has is equal to 45, which is Alonso's pennies. So remember, to find the missing add-in, we can just use an arrow way. So if I start at 23, I want to get to 45. So let's get to a friendly number. So 23, and if I add 20 to that, well, 23 plus 20 is equal to 43. And then I just have to get to 45. So how many more do I need to get to 45? I just need 2 more. So now if I take those two numbers, 20 plus 2, that's equal to 22. So that means that Brianne has 22 pennies. Uh-oh, there's a part B. So let's go ahead and read that. It says, how many pennies do they have altogether? Well, let's talk about what we know. We know Brianne has 22. We also know that Alonso has 45. So we've got to figure out what those pennies equal together. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add those numbers. 45 plus 22. So 4 tens plus 2 tens is equal to 6 tens, and 5 ones plus 2 ones is equal to 7 ones. So that's 67 altogether. So they have 67 pennies all together. All right, now that our brains are warmed up a little bit, let's go ahead and get into our concept today. So I'm going to start with this problem right here, 584, take away 147. So I'm going to write it in vertical form, and let's go ahead and get out our place value mat. And remember, what's the first thing that I have to do? This is a subtraction problem, so I do not make both numbers. I only make the whole, the number on the top. So 584 is 5 hundreds, 8 tens, and 4 ones. Now we're going to go ahead and be detectives, and we've got to look at those numbers on the top. You can see if I look at my ones, I have 4 ones on the top and 7 ones on the floor. I'm going to have to get 10 more for my ones. Let's look at my tens. I have 8 on the top and 4 on the floor. You know, that one, I'm not going to have to go next door. And then in my hundreds, I have 5 hundreds, take away 100. I can do that. So it looks like for my ones, I'm going to have to go next door, but for my tens and my hundreds, I will be okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with our ones. I have 4, and remember, I have to try to take away 7. Can I do that? I can't do that the way that it's written. So the rule is more on the floor than go next door and get 10 more. So there's my 10. It's going to my ones, and now I have 10 ones. So now I have 14 ones. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like on the algorithm. I had 8 tens, but now I have 7. I had 4 ones, but now I have 14. So can I subtract 7 now? It looks like we set it up and we are ready to subtract. So let's go ahead and take away 7. And there they go. How many do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 ones left. So to put that in my algorithm, I just put it right there in my ones place. Okay, now we're ready for our tens. I have 7 tens and I need to take away 4. More on the top or more on the floor? More on the top, no need to stop. So 4 take away 7 is equal to 3 tens. So if I write that in my algorithm, there it is, 3 tens. And now we're ready to move on to our hundreds. So I have 5 hundreds and I just need to take away 1. Well, there it goes. And I'm left with 4 hundreds. So 5 take away 1 is equal to 4. So altogether I have 584 take away 147 is equal to 437. Now I'm not done yet. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and put this in a number bond. We practiced this with lesson 13, but we want to go a little deeper and really understand what the number bond means. So here's my number bond. Remember, I have the whole on top, 584, and I have part of that, which is 147. So now I'm going to put my answer in the other part of the bond, 437. Now the rule is, if I were to put this part with this part, I would get the whole. So let's go ahead and add our parts together. So my first part is 147. My second part is 437. And if I add them up, well, let's see what I get. 7 plus 7 is 14. Remember, when we practice our adding, put your tens up high and your ones down low. So I have my 1 in my tens place and my 4 in my ones. Let's go ahead and add our tens now. I have 4 plus 3, and let's not forget our new groups below, and that is 8. And then I have my hundreds. I have 1 plus 4, and that is equal to 5. And look at that. My answer is 584. If I look at my number bond, all of my numbers match. I have 584 right there in my whole. So it's like a fact family. So let's not forget to check our problems with addition, because subtraction can be tricky sometimes. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next problem. I have 637 take away 253. 637 take away 243 in vertical form. You can see my numbers are lined up nice and straight. And now I'm ready to represent that number on my place value mat. So I have 6 hundreds, 3 tens, and 7 ones. Now remember, I don't make 253 on my mat because I'm taking that away. So let's go ahead and get my magnifying glass and let's see what we're going to do. So if I look at my ones, I have a 7 on the top and a 3 on the floor. Well, there I have more on the top. No need to stop. Let's look at my tens. I have 3 tens and I need to take away 5. More on the top or more on the floor? More on the floor. So it looks like I'm going to have to go next door when I get to my tens. And let's look at my hundreds. I have 6 hundreds and I can take away 2. I can do that. So it looks like for my ones, I don't have to get a new group of 10, but for my tens, I will have to do that. So let's get started with our ones. 7 take away 3. Well, there they go. That was easy. And I'm left with 4 ones. Now, to put that in the algorithm, I just line it up nice and straight with my ones. Let's move on to our tens. I have 3 tens and I've got to take away 5. Well, more on the floor, then go next door and get 10 more. And there they are. Did you see that? My 100 came over and now I have 10 more. So now I have 13 tens. All right, now let's go ahead and take away 5. And when I take away 5, I'm left with 8 tens. Now let's show how this looks on the algorithm. So I had 6 hundreds, but I now have 5. And I did have 3 tens, but now I had 13. And when I took away 5, that left me with 8 tens. Now I'm done with my tens, I'm moving on to my hundreds, and now I have to do 5 take away 2. So what is 5 take away 2? That's equal to 3 hundredths, and that's it. Okay, let's see if I got the right answer. I'm going to get my number bond, and let's fill this out. My whole part is 253. The other part is 384. So remember, what do? We get our part, and we check to see if they add up to the whole. So my first part is 384. My second part is 253. Once I see that they're lined up nice and straight, I'm ready to add. So 4 plus 3 is equal to 7. 8 plus 5 is 13. And remember, we have a new group below. Put your tens up high and your ones down low. And now I have 3 plus 2, and then one more is equal to 6. So you can see part, whole. It's like that fact family again, and they all match. Okay, my next problem is 725 take away 386. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in vertical form, and you can see that they all line up. Once I have them lined up, I can go ahead and get my mat out. And how many numbers am I going to show on the mat? I'm only going to show one number, and that is 725. So 7 hundreds, 2 tens, and 5 ones. Okay, let's get my magnifying glass and investigate. I have 5 ones, and I need to take away 6. More on the top or more on the floor? More on the floor, so I'm going to have to go next door. Now let's look at our tens. I have 2 tens, take away 8. More on the top or more on the floor? More on the floor. I'm going to have to go next door again. And our hundreds, I have 7 hundreds, take away 3. I can do that. So it looks like I'm going to have to unbundle a 10 and a 100. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So 5 ones, take away 6. I can't do that. Remember, more on the floor, then go next door and get 10 more. So there it is. And there's 10 more ones. So now I have 15 ones. So if I show that on the algorithm, well, I did have 2 tens, but now I have 1. And I did have 5 ones, but now I have 15. So what's 15 take away 6? That's equal to 9 ones. So I can put that right there in my algorithm. And now I'm ready to move on to my tens. I only have 1 10, but I need to subtract 8. So for sure, if there's more on the floor, then I've got to go next door and get 10 more. And there they are. So I now have 11 tens. Let's go ahead and show what that looks like on the algorithm. I had 7 hundreds, but now I have 6 hundreds. And then I had 1 10, but now I have 11 tens. So what's 11 tens take away 8? Well, let's take them away. And I am left with 3 tens. So I put that right there in my algorithm. And once I'm done with my tens, I'm ready to move on to my hundreds. So I have 6 hundreds, take away 3. I can do that without going next door or doing anything else. So let's take away 3, and that leaves me with 3 hundreds. So I put that in my algorithm, and my final answer is 725 take away 386 is equal to 339. Okay, let's check our answer. So there's my problem that I just did, and here's my number bond. So I have 725 as my whole, and part of that was 386, and then we subtracted and we found that other part, and we said that was 339. So 386 plus 339, those are my 2 parts. They're lined up nice and straight. Let's add them, and let's see if we get 725. So 6 plus 9 is equal to 15. And remember, when we have 2 digits, we put our 10 up high and our ones down low. Now let's look at our tens. I have 8 plus 3 plus 1. Well, I know that 8 plus 3 is 11, and 1 more is 12. So put your tens up high and your ones down low. And then finally, I have 3 plus 1 more, and that is 700. Whew, that was a lot of math to do, but you can see that it all fits together in the fact family. And that is it for today. So let's go ahead and take a look at some samples from your problem set today. Okay, the first problem that I have mine right here in Seesaw. Now you can solve this a lot of different ways. So I have 373 take away 180. So you can solve it here on the place value chart, or you can solve this right here on your Seesaw activity. But remember, to check it, you have to put your answer up right there. So what is 3 take away 0? I'm going to use my pen, and that's equal to 3. More on the top, no need to stop. 7 take away 8. More on the floor, then go next door and get 10 more. So I'm going to put 2 right there. And now instead of 7 tens, I have 17. So what's 17 take away 8? That is equal to 9. And then 2 take away 1 is equal to 1. And then remember, you have to add 100, 90, and 3. So what I want you to do is add these numbers and see if you get my whole 373. And that's it. There's another problem for you to do right here, but I'm not going to walk you through that because I want to make sure that you know how to do it on your own. And until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.